भैया मेरे ख्याल में कि आवाज़ शायद यार थोड़ा सा बढ़ा दीजिएगा, पंखा चल रहा है. It's such a beautiful blessing. ये एक भैया एक काम करो, इसको बंद कर दो, ये ज़्यादा आवाज़ कर रहे हैं. Yeah. It's such a beautiful blessing to be back together in satsang. Some of you know I've been out for the last more than 2 months. Just came back this week, and the travels are a blessing, reaching people from all over the world, and yet coming back is the greatest blessing. Back home, back to the banks of Ganga, back to being able to be here in satsang. So welcome. This is a time of really dropping deeply into ourselves. There's no fixed lecture. It's not me teaching you. It's us together dropping into truth. That's what the word satsang means, is in the presence of truth, that highest, deepest truth of who we are. So we get a lot of questions that come in from people all over the world, by email, on our websites, on social media. So we begin with one of those questions from our internet audience, and then we open it up to any question that anyone here has. So we'll start with one of these. They're all very, very specific questions from individual lives, which is beautiful. So this one says, it's from Tina from Bali. And it says, there are days when the ceiling falls on my head and everything seems too boring. It feels like burnout, even though I'm so grateful for everything. And there are so many things and challenges around me to experience and to do to fulfill me. How can I deal with it? How can I tame the feeling? So, one of the real ignorances, you could say, or illusions that we need to free ourselves of if we're going to find peace, if we're going to find joy, certainly if we're going to find freedom, is the idea that the world is here to entertain us. The world is not here to give us something to do. If we're bored, it's not about what can I go out and amuse myself. Typically when we're bored, we feel like, oh, let me see a movie. Let me turn on the TV. Let me scroll Instagram. Let me find something. And if we're bored, we typically blame our environment. This is boring. This class is boring, this movie is boring, this conversation is boring, this event I'm in is boring, this city is boring. We tend to blame the environment. Boredom has actually nothing to do with what's going on around you and everything to do with the state of your mind. And what boredom means is you're not engaged. And as Tina said, it might be burnout. Sure, sometimes burnout causes us to disengage. But this feels different to me. This feels much more like someone who has spent her life being stimulated by things around us. And this is a real problem, but it's something that so many of us face today. We've become so used to our devices being that give us these hits of dopamine, hits of excitement. When we're not getting it, we feel bored. And we immediately look for the next hit. But all that does is it makes us addicts. One of the most healing, powerful things that you can do is be bored. One of the best things as parents that you can do for your kids is let them be bored. Boredom is super powerful because what boredom does is it forces us inward. So Tina, if the ceiling falls and hits you over the head and you still feel bored, in a way it's good because what it means is the outside world has stopped stimulating you. Okay, now go inward. If the falling ceiling doesn't do it, go inside. You should be inside to begin with. Because if you wait for a falling ceiling to excite you, then you need the ceiling to fall again tomorrow. If that was your excitement today, like, oh my God, I was so bored, and then the ceiling fell, so at least I had some excitement today, well, then you're going to need the ceiling to fall again tomorrow. And we see this in a really tragic way, actually, in a lot of our relationships. If you go deep, you'll realize how many of us are addicted to chaos. And so we create it. We create it in our relationships. We make fights out of nothing. We purposely self-sabotage. We purposely create situations because they give us something to think about. They give us something to talk about because we don't want to be inside. The solution to that is not find more things outside to stimulate you. This is why so many meditation retreats are silent. It's why the practice of silence is so powerful. And when we practice silence, it's not just silence of what comes out of my mouth. It means I'm not scrolling my WhatsApp, I'm not going on social media. I'm truly, and it's perfect to have this conversation just before Navaratri, because so many people fast on Navaratri. Raise your hand if you're planning on some kind of upvas or vrat from tomorrow for Navaratri. Raise your hand, anybody who fasts for Navaratri? Good. I think more than that, मैंने ये पूछा था कि अगर आप नवरात्रि में खूब उपवास रखेंगे या व्रत रखेंगे तो आप हाथ खड़े कर दीजिएगा. Raise your hand again. Anybody who's going to do any kind of upvas, vrat for Navaratri. Okay, good. Typically these upvases, these vrats, these fasts are of some kind of food. We say, oh, I'm not going to eat salt, or I don't eat the regular salt, I only eat that salt, or I don't eat anaj, I don't eat grains. No dals, no rices, no nothing like that. But the real fast, it's not the body, it's the mind. The reason that we fast in the body is to change the mind. The rishis and the sages gave us these teachings not just as a physical detox, but as a way of keeping the body so light that the meditation comes very, very easily. But if you're avoiding salt and you're avoiding dal and you're avoiding rice, but you're scrolling WhatsApp or you're scrolling social media, or you're sitting in the midst of gossip and negativity, your mind is not in the state to sit in meditation. it's much more important to actually abstain from that. So this is why our meditation retreats are so frequently silent. No devices, no nothing. Why? In the beginning, it's awful. Everybody complains, oh my God, it's so boring. First couple of days, people feel like I'm not going to make it. And then by the end, it's heaven. Heaven. Because you've dipped into a source of what we call ras, that essence, that is so much richer and so much deeper than a momentary hit of some neurochemical from something you see online, or from the roof falling, or from a bit of gossip, or from a movie or TV. So be bored. Boredom is fantastic. But use boredom as a window. If you are bored, it means you're not connected inside. So when you're bored, rather than try to alleviate the boredom by something outside, just go within. Allow yourself to sit and be bored. And go within, and go within, and go within. And see what arises. I remember when I first came to India, now with mobile phones, everything's changed. But when I first came to India, one of the things that struck me so much about Indian society compared to American society was people's ability to just sit. Just sit. Side of the road. In an office. Now, I mean, I was raised, and again, this is pre-mobile phone age, I was raised, you have to have a book with you. Like, I would get in trouble as a kid if I didn't have a book in my hand. If we were waiting at a doctor's office, or for a table at a restaurant, or anywhere, and my mom looked at me and I didn't have a book in my hand, I got in trouble. Because it was considered a waste of time. Now, on the one hand, I'm very grateful for that. It made me an avid reader. But when I came to India, my first instinct was, why don't these people all have books in their hands? And then I realized, oh my God, there's actually something that is so much deeper and richer about the ability to just sit, to just be in that moment. Nothing you need to entertain you, not necessarily talking to anybody. And it's not that they're sulking, it's not that they're brooding or ruminating. They're just sitting. They're just there. And it is a skill that is so critical and so powerful. And these days, of course, the phone is taking it away from us, because every moment that we have, the first thing we do is pull out the phone. But even those of you who are not suffering boredom, try to give it to yourself. Try to create a situation where you wait 10 minutes before pulling out your phone. Every time you're bored, you're waiting for something. Stop the instinct to pull out the phone and let yourself be bored. Just see what happens. If you have to wait 10 minutes to occupy your mind, see what happens. It's a really, really powerful teacher. Great. Other questions before taking any of the others that came in advance? Any questions that anyone here might have? Yeah, don't be shy. We have a microphone right here. If anyone has a question, feel free to just come to the mic and ask it. Yeah, come.
Yes, this is Neil here. My question is, how do you attain moksha? Because there are ways where even people become sadhus, but they still don't attain moksha. But there are even butchers who do attain moksha. It's written in the scriptures as well.
Great question. How do we attain moksha? Liberation. He said, there's sadhus who don't attain moksha sometimes, And then there's non-sadhus, ordinary people who attain moksha. What's the recipe? It's actually all about letting go. Think about it from a physical standpoint. If you want to be physically free, if I say to you, okay, nobody should be shy, bina sankoch, koi bhi sankoch nahi, no shyness, no self-consciousness, no nothing, let's together be as free as we can. Well, if we really did it and we weren't in an ashram and it weren't a spiritual satsang, one of the first things most people would do is start to pull off their clothes. Why? It's not that you can't be free with your clothes on. Of course we can. Our clothes aren't keeping us stuck. But when we think about freedom, we all understand that it's not about gaining something from outside, but it's about letting go of that which we have. And for many of us, our clothes are the first things that occur to us. Oh, we're going to be super free. Okay, cello, let's take off all our clothes. But that doesn't actually work. I mean, it can get you free of being stuck with fashion and whatnot, but it's a symbol because it reminds us that freedom is about letting go of what is keeping you stuck much more than gaining something from outside. But what is it that keeps us stuck? Not our clothes, our minds. The other thing people think a lot of times is it's the bodies. I want moksha. Let me end my physical life so that I can have liberation. This is one of the biggest myths and illusions. The body is neither the bondage nor letting go of the body is the source of freedom. Because the body doesn't keep us stuck. It's the mind. And so moksha is attained by letting go of all the ways that the mind keeps you stuck. Now, when you say that some of the sadhus don't attain moksha, of course they don't. Simply putting on orange robes does not, sadly, automatically free you of anger or grudges or pain or greed or lust or illusion. None of that. But the reason that we have this idea that sadhus or sannyasis, monastics are closer to freedom is because it is a tradition of renunciation. Renunciation of attachment, renunciation of ownership, renunciation of working for the self, renunciation of my way. All of the vows of sannyas are vows of letting go, letting go, letting go. But you don't have to be a sannyasi. But see in your life, what are the things that make you the most stuck? And it's easy to tell because when you sit down to meditate, those are the things that will come in your mind. When you lie down to go to sleep at night, those are the things that will come in your mind. When you wake up in the morning, that's what's going to come in your mind. When you're showering, that's what's going to come in your mind. When you have a moment of silence, that's what's going to come in your mind. And it's all going to be some mix of things like anger and grudges, unfulfilled expectations, fear, attachment, desires. But even though the recipe is, made up of the same ingredients, we all have kind of different amounts of different ones. Ask yourself, just start to notice, what is it that's keeping you from being free? If you had to be really honest and you said to yourself, why am I not in peace in this moment? Chalo, today is International Day of Peace. Why am I not fully in peace? That which arises in you, typically it's all about some other person, this person doing this person doing that, this thing in the universe, this aspect about me that isn't how I want it to be. Just notice it. Don't judge it. But just notice, because it's a window. Is it a desire that hasn't been fulfilled yet? I'm not in peace because I haven't yet gotten this thing I want. Or am I not in peace because this person keeps annoying me? Or am I not in peace because that person hurt me and they haven't apologized yet? Or lightning hasn't yet struck them down? Or am I not in peace? Just what is it? See. And it'll give you a window into the work that you need to do for moksha. Because long before we get to moksha, we get to peace. The moksha bahut dur ki baat hai. Phale shanti ki baat karo. Why do we not have peace? Let's remove those obstacles, those hurdles. Then we can start walking from peace to moksha. But you can't bypass peace on the way to moksha. And so just every day ask yourself, why am I not fully peaceful, fully joyful? Because those exact obstacles are the same things that are keeping you from moksha. But for moksha, there's even more obstacles, because that all has to do then with identification as well. This false identification as the body, as the story, as the role. But first, at least deal with what is keeping me from being in peace. And I'll give you a hint. The stories we tell ourselves, as I said, are almost always about something outside. Or some fault that we see in ourselves. I'm not in peace because I'm not beautiful enough, smart enough, successful enough. Why do I need that? Why do I want that? Because then I will have X, Y, and Z. The money that I want, the respect that I want, the power that I want, the prestige that I want, the popularity that I want, the relationship that I want. And so then you start to really understand, what is it that is keeping me stuck? And then slowly, slowly, kind of one at a time, start to work through these things. And along the way to moksha, you'll find joy, you'll find peace. And then slowly, 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 you'll start peeling back the layers. And that moksha will be there. Beautiful. Yeah, other questions? Yes. Namaste.
I got married, and that time I was eating meat and was drinking. And
wait, I'm sorry, you got married?
Yes.
And at that time you were eating meat?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was drinking.
And you were?
Drinking alcohol.
You were vegan?
No, I was drinking alcohol.
Oh, so you were drinking.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry. Okay.
Yes.
You were eating meat and you were drinking. Yes.
Yes. And over a year ago, I got cancer. And suddenly I understood that life was more than that. And I got more spiritual. My husband is still drinking and eating meat, but I cut it.
Wonderful.
All the way. So my question is, how does I make the relationship work? He's still eating meat and drinking, but I have chosen another path.
Yeah, beautiful. So first of all, so many prayers for your health and your healing. The aspect of being on a different spiritual path than your partner, your husband, your wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, is actually much more common than you would think. And it's okay, because our spiritual paths are independent. It's not a collective journey. Now, yes, of course, if we can be together, it's more enjoyable. If you like to meditate and your husband or wife also meditates, it's an extra special, powerful meditation to do it together. If you like to go for holy pilgrimages, or you like to sing kirtan, or you like to go to the temple, and your partner also likes those things, it's beautiful, because then you can do it together. But it's not necessary. And there's a lot of relationships I know where the partners are in completely different places. And that's absolutely fine, as long as neither of you tries to change the other. The problem is not that you have different diets or different habits around alcohol. The problem arises if you try to change each other. So if he tries to say to you, oh, just have a little, oh, just have some, or if you try to tell him, isko band karo, because then you have conflict. In English, there's a beautiful saying. They say, you can take the horse to the water, but you can't force it to drink. You can show someone a path, but you cannot force them to take it. And one of the mistakes that a lot of us make in relationships, with friends as well, is to try to convince them how to change in a way that by our vision would be so much better for them. But you can't make that happen. You need to focus right now on your healing through your diet, but also through your meditation, through your prayer, through your yoga. And if your mind is wrapped up in what your husband is eating or drinking, you're not going to find the peace that's needed for you to heal. Because when we have illness in the body, it's never caused by just one thing. Even something as simple as like smoking and lung cancer. You know, I mean, we think that we have a perfect line between them. And yet there's plenty of people who smoke who don't get lung cancer. And tragically, there's a lot of people who get lung cancer who don't smoke. So it's not a direct 100% connection. Yes, we do know smoking causes lung cancer. But it's not that everyone who smokes will get it. Everyone has other aspects of it. It's like if you look at COVID, when we had COVID. If we were sitting in here in satsang, and one person had COVID and they sneezed or they coughed, some people would walk out of here with severe COVID. Somebody may even die or need to be hospitalized. Some people would have, maybe a mild case. Maybe some people wouldn't get it at all. Because we all have different immune systems. And in the same way, we all have different karmic packages. And I mention this because just because that way of living contributed to an illness in your body doesn't necessarily 100% mean it's going to happen to your husband. Is it healthier to give up meat and alcohol? Absolutely, 200%. Usme do rai nahi hai. But you can't say to him, you will also get sick, because you don't know that. What's most important is harmony. So you work your path, your healing path, through your diet, through your prayer, through your meditation, through your yoga, through your lifestyle. And let part of your healing path be to let go of any attachment to what your husband or other people do. That will free your mind. Okay? So you'll find a way. You certainly can refuse to cook it in the home. That is absolutely your right. But if he eats it outside, khane do, koi baat nahi. Having fights every day is actually worse for your body than the alcohol. You focus on your path. Now, that being said, just lastly, there are a lot of people who, when a loved one gets sick and has to make changes, that they voluntarily make those changes to go through that path with the loved one. I know a lot of people who, when a loved one goes through chemotherapy and loses all their hair, that the loved one also shaves their head. There's something very beautiful about doing that. Chalo, you lost your hair, I will also be bald with you. Let's experience baldness together. Okay, you are on this bland diet, chalo, we will eat a bland diet together. I will not eat pakoras and samosas and, very spicy food in front of you. Boiled vegetables for you, boiled vegetables for me. There's something very, very beautiful in a relationship about that level of togetherness. If your husband apne aap automatically decides to offer that, that would be beautiful for him. It would be a beautiful spiritual path for him to take, a beautiful invitation, a beautiful opportunity. But you should not, in your mind, get stuck with thinking that that's how it should be. You work your path, and he'll take care of his own karmic package. Beautiful. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your evening, everyone. We will go back to having our evening satsang every day immediately after the arati. It'll be around between 7 and 7:15. I think we'll be starting every day for anyone coming from outside. But join us for the Ganga Arati. The Ganga Arati is so divine and beautiful, and then you'll know exactly when satsang is going to start, because it'll be just immediately when we come back from the Arati. But otherwise, for anyone coming from outside who can't join the Arati for any reason, it'll be starting just between 7 and 7:15 as soon as the Arati is over. And bring in your questions, don't be shy. If it's meaningful and important for you, it's meaningful and important for other people. So much love to all of you.